Hi guys, it's David here from One Step at a Time, and today we're going to be talking about Gimp and how to set it up for beginners. I know when I started, it's a little bit confusing, wanting to find out how everything goes together. You just want to start creating stuff, so hopefully I'm going to make that a little bit easier. So the first step, anyway, is if you want to just log in and create a canvas, you can just double click, or if you want, you can, if there's an image you want to work on, you can just right click on it, and you can right click and say edit with Gimp, and it should open up. Now it can take a little while for Gimp to open because it's looking for brushes, fonts, patterns, script view, and a few other bits and pieces, so it can take a little while. As you can see, I'm using 2.8. I didn't use the latest Gimp because I found it was a little bit buggy, and some of the icons on the layers box and that weren't showing up, so that's why you see me using 2.8. Now on my window, as you can see, because I've been using it before, my tool options and everything are one complete I suppose screen, if you want, one complete window. But when you get to yours, you'll probably find your toolbox here is loose, and you can move it around. So I'm just going to quickly do that to show you. So then now it's not on single window mode, and as you can see, the tool options, and I can just want to close this tab, really. No, I'll just open this, and you probably just have this on your screen with your toolbox, and it's loose like that. If you wanted to add it, make one so you're not constantly moving that out of the way of the pictures, the best option for that is just go into your windows and click on single window mode, and it'll add it so it's all one window, which is much better than trying to move lots of tools around the place. And the next option you need is, these are all of the tools that you'll use on whatever image, but there's also a tools option window that pops up every time you pick on one of these tools. So if I click the rectangle select, there is an option for that tool. So if you go into Windows, Talkable Dialogues, and go for tool options, just click on tool options. As you can see, there's the tool options for the rectangle select, and if I select the color picker, it's giving me the options for it. Same for the move tool, it's asking me. So every time you click on a tool, there's options to change different aspects of that tool, if you understand what I'm saying. And so I'm going to just do a few things with the picture. It's probably the easiest way to show you around some of the tools that's here. And the first thing I'm going to show you, if you wanted to create your first ever project, you could just come in here. If it was a blank canvas, just come into File and say New, and then it'll give you an option in here, and you can choose from your templates. So there's a lot of templates that you can decide. If you wanted to make a header image for your website or that, you could use one of these, although that's slightly changed now with the way websites are gone. I'm trying to use them on loads of different devices. They have to be kind of dynamic in that. So. And but anyway, if you decide to pick one of the templates, you can run with that. This obviously is, as it says, width and height of whatever your canvas wants to be, and this is to set it for portrait or landscape. In the advanced options, your resolution when you start off at the beginning is about 72 pixels. I have it at 200. Just because it creates better quality images, although you don't technically need them for web. 72 is usually more than good enough. This is your color space, this is your RGB, or you can have grayscale. And the background, you can choose the foreground or background color. Just move it here out of the way. if you choose a foreground color, it'll choose this black. If you choose a background color, it'll be white. And if you change the colors in here, that'll be the color it'll pick. You can have white or you can have transparent. And then you just say OK, and it'll create your canvas for you. Just going to cancel because we have this one here. Now the other thing I want to have in here is I need my layers box. So what I'm going to do is, if on these little arrows you can attach other dockable dialogues here. So I'm going to click on that to open it, and I'm just going to say add tab. When you click add tab, you come down here and then you can pick whichever one of these you want to add. So for the moment I want layers, so I can see which layer I'm on and what I'm doing. So click on layer, and there it'll have my layers and my tool options. So when I choose a tool, I'll have my options for it. Most of the time you'll probably just use this. You wouldn't have tons of uses for anything else. So in your layers here, this is your mode. So when you click that, you can dissolve, dodge, darken, overlay, all of the things it's showing you. I'll be going through a couple of them later, and just close that. This is the opacity. So if you color that real dark blue and you wanted to turn it down, you could turn down your opacity slightly, so it would look completely different. And then down here at the bottom you have this little blank page, and it's to create a layer. So if you click on it, it'll add a layer the exact size of your canvas to begin with, and then you can set that at whatever you want, transparent, white, and then just say OK. That's what that does. The folder, you can create a new layer group and add it to that image. I very rarely use it, but the option is there. These arrows are for if, let's say I'll just add that layer. So I'm just going to say OK. And as you can see, I have a new layer here. You can, if you want, name this. If you were using lots of layers, you could name this. You could call it different based on what you were doing. But if you have two layers, if I wanted to move that layer below this, I can use these arrows. So if I click the downward arrow, that layer hops down here. And this is a duplicate, so I can make two of these. So let's say I was on this layer, I could make a duplicate of that layer. So if I click my move tool, and as you can see, it's moving it. So you have two layers the same. So I'm just going to go to edit, I'm going to undo history, and it's going to give me this option here. And these two arrows, obviously, is to undo, and you can see it scrolling back up, and you're back to your base layer. This is to redo, and here is to clear your history. So if you click that, it'll say clear your history, and it's saying there's 157.9 megabytes, and you just say clear, and it'll get rid of all of that. That's your clear. On your layers, this is to anchor. If you brought in an image, it would be floating, and this would allow you to anchor it. And the delete is to delete. So if I drag this down and drop it in the bin, it will dump it for me. So that's kind of the basics. If I want to, you have to choose this as well when you're moving. But what I'll do is I'll start doing a few bits and pieces around with the image, and then you'll get a better idea of what I'm talking about. So the first thing I'm going to go is your tool to your rectangle, select, and this is what it says. You just left click, hold, and you can create a selection. And as you can see around the edge of it there's little like marching ants, as I call them. Inside that is your selection. So you could, if you wanted to, let's say you wanted to create a kind of like picture frame type thing, you could come in here to edit, and go to stroke selection, and then you could pick the size of the line width you want, what kind of colors, whether you wanted a pattern, and then you could hit the stroke, and that stroked it, even though it might be a bit harder to see. I'll just go to 25% here, and if I say select none, that will get rid of these marching ants. And as you can see, what's left behind is like this little frame. So I have to go inside, edit, undo, edit, undo, edit, undo. I could go into my history, it'd probably be quicker. And as you can see, that's with the rectangle select, so you can also fill in the middle of that square. So you could use your bucket and you could fill in there, or you could use gradient. And as you'll see in your options, the gradient tool is foreground to transparent. If you click inside this, you can go foreground to background color, so it will give me black and white, but it would, and if I left click and hold, you'll see it creates this little, and if you hold shift, it'll make it straight for you, and then you just let go, and as you can see, it gives this nice gradient effect. And if you hold it and pull it up the way, it'll do it vice versa. And just clear that history. Don't, that so it doesn't get big. The ellipse tool is the same. It just creates a circle selection, so you can create whichever you want. And then you have your free select, or the lasso tool, as I call it. And if you're probably want to go a little bit bigger with this, if you wanted to, you just create a selection around an image. If you wanted to cut it out, or if you wanted to add a certain color to that selection, so just go here, and as you can see, you see these little marching ants are back again, and the same applies to that. You can add a color to that. You can right click, go into edit, and you can fill with the foreground color, or fill with the background color, or you can cut it from the picture. So I'm just going to say edit, undo, go back out to 25%, go a bit smaller than that actually, 5.5. Now the fuzzy select, this tool, if you wanted to select inside, like let's say if I clicked it outside here, taking a little while, it will select everything outside this screen. So if I went to my layers, and then I right clicked on my layer, and I went, there's add, and there's an alpha channel on, so that I don't have to create that. I was just double checking. You would click here if there wasn't, and once there's, I know there's an alpha channel in it, if I click delete, as you can see, it gives you this complete background, so you can do whatever you like. But as you notice, there's probably a little bit of white. So if I go to select, shrink by 1 pixel, okay, and then hit delete again, and then say select none. As you can see, it's completely gotten rid of all of this background, but we want to be able to see here as well, because you would obviously be looking through his mouth. So if you click in here, it'll highlight that, and just hit delete. Okay, so that's one option. So I'm going to go to edit, undo history, go all the way back again. Let's clear memory. I'm going to say select none. I'm going to go back into my layers. I'm going to create a layer. I'm going to set it to white, and then I'm going to drop it down onto this. And as you can see, I was showing you earlier why moving up and down the layers can make a difference. If I right click on that and say merge down, it will make that the one layer. If I click this icon here, it will make the layer image disappear. If I had two layers, I could link them together. So if I was moving them around, if you didn't want to actually merge them together, it would allow you to move them 2 layers, 3 layers, anywhere on the canvas. So the next option then is, that's very cool for something I'll show you later on when you're trying to just do individual teeth. but you want to do it in one go. The color picker is probably the best for removing backgrounds than using the fuzzy select, because you'd have to go in through all the teeth and everything. If you use the color, you just click on, and because I clicked on the white, it's chosen all of the white in the picture. So if I just click delete, as you can see, if I say select none, it's left nothing, only just the pencil outline of the drawing, which is what we're after. And the next option you have then is if you wanted to add a color within the actual picture itself, so within the drawing of him, of our little barracuda here, what you would do is then you could go back to your fuzzy select, click on the fuzzy select tool inside, and as you can see, it's highlighted the whole inside of his body. So if I wanted to now, I could add a color to him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a dark blue to light blue gradient effect on him. And to do this, you just go in here to pick your color. I'm going to actually select the gradient tool first, click that. Then go in here, foreground, pick a dark blue, and then go in here to your background and pick a light blue. And just say OK, and there's our two colors. And the same applies again. Just probably go out a little bit more so you see this, and then I click here at the top of his head and I draw a line straight down through him. And if I stop here like this, you'll see, you can see the lighter shade is going higher up on his body. But if I only wanted it lower down on his body, what I would do is I would do the same again, except I would drag right past the image, right down to the bottom as far as I want, and then press it. When you let go, as you can see, the darkness went further down his body and the lighter is down more near the bottom of his fins. So then you just say select none, and as you can see, we have a nice color added to our little barracuda. But now if you, let's say I want to do his teeth like a grey color, or I want to put a little gradient on it, so it's kind of dark grey to light grey or dark grey to white, I would normally have to get the fuzzy select, and then I would have to click in here and then apply the gradient. But if you hold shift on your computer, so click inside one of the teeth like this, and then hold shift, and you'll see this little plus sign come up there beside the fuzzy select. Just click on each tooth. Probably should have made this image a little bit smaller. It's kind of lagging a little bit because it's so big, so I might make it small now in a second. But I'm just going to show you, as you can see, you have your little marching ants all the way through his teeth. Now if I want to apply my gradient, I come here with my gradient tool, I go in here and pick say a dark grey to really kind of light grey. And if I stroke this selection here like that, you'll see it's after creating a kind of, so if I go select none, you'll see it's after adding nice colour to his teeth. And we just need to do the other side, so we go back at our fuzzy select again, click inside one of them, then hold shift, and then click inside each tooth. And when it's finished selecting, go back to your gradient. Because your colour is picked, this time we want to go from dark to light, but we want it to go up the way, so I'm just going to come down here a little bit, and then I'm going to select somewhere here. I'm just going to pull that up and let go. Come a little bit further this side, and I'm just going to say select none. Then put our image back out, and as you can see, his teeth now are finished. So that's a couple of ways of using the fuzzy select and using the gradient. And I'm going to make this image smaller, so I'm just gonna, this is just the scale tool, and in here there's a chain link. So when you click that, it'll close the chain link, so it'll keep the aspect ratio. So if you catch this, push it up, make a nice handy image so it's not lagging as much, and then I just click scale. Yeah, it's taken a while, it's a very big image. And then I'm just going to get my square select. I'm just going to draw a selection around this. And then I'm going to image, crop the selection, sorry. And then we have a nice handy size and select none. And then we go to 50%. Here we go. Now we have a better image for working around. And let me see what else. The next, I went through the color picker. The scissors. When you click on the edge, you can click on the edge like this, and you can see it kind of attaches itself to the outside layer. Now sometimes this is great, but I find if it's anyways pixelated, your image, if it was a really good vector, it would do a great job on it. But when it's not, you get all these little fine edges. As you can see here, it would cut. So when you were finished doing your selection, so if I went to here, as you can see, I get this little round. Click on that and then hit enter. It has given me this selection, but if I cut it out, I'll be left with little jagged bits. It would take in some of the black, so I don't tend to use it too much. I find it creates more problems. So I'm just going to say edit, undo history, go all the way down to base layer and clear my history. The next tool is the Foreground Select tool. So if you click on that, and it'll give you this like the little lasso tool. So if you click in around an area, so let's say I wanted that, I could color inside here like this and then let go. It's after creating a selection, and then if I'm happy, you see the icon changes to like a cut tool. So if I click inside that, it'll cut it, and then I can add more strokes, or I can press enter, and then as you can see, this is what I painted. It's selected, so I can go edit, and I could cut that, and it will cut from the selection. So you can paint out parts of an image with the foreground select or background select. And I'm just going to go to my undo history, go back again. The next tool is the paths tool. It'll create a path, and each one of these nodes, and you can move the line. Then there's little, I'm just trying to catch you can bend the line, and you can do that with any of the little nodes, depending on how many of them you've created. You can also make this a selection by hitting enter, and you can do what we've done before, and you can go to edit, and you can stroke the selection. So you can stroke it with, or you can fill it with a color. So I'm just going to get rid of all this again. I'm going to say clear, and dropper, that is what it says. If you look at your colors here, if I want this color again, the blue, I can just click in here, and if I select my background, if I move this to the top as my foreground, I can click down here to a lighter color, and that's what your color picker is. Or you can do with any image. If you brought an image in from one of your own images and you wanted the color from it, you just bring it in here as a layer, choose the color from it, and then you can delete the layer if you like. That's your zoom tool, so that obviously is what it says. You can zoom around. This is your measurement, so if you left click, hold, and drag a line across, you'll see down the bottom here it's telling you that it was 800.2 pixels and the angle of it is 1.15 degrees. This is the move tool. This allows you to move your layer around the place wherever you want to move it. This is your alignment tool. I don't really use that much. This is your cut tool, so you just drag a box and that's what it's selected to cut. If I could move it up like that, and if I hit enter, as you can see, it's cut out the section that I want. So say edit to crop. I'm going to delete again. And this is your rotate tool. So you left click inside here, as you can see. I'll move this out of the way slightly. You can either change the angle here, so if you wanted to change it, you knew your angle, you could type it in here, so you could set it to 90 degrees if you want, or you can just click in here and turn, so you can move your image to whatever angle you want. So cancel that. This is the scale tool. I showed you that a second ago. You just click inside. If you don't want to keep the aspect ratio, you can just click the chain and you can move the width, but it tends to distort pictures a good bit, so you're better off leaving that closed, so when you move it, your image stays looking its best. Cancel that as well. This is your shear tool. You can move this, and you can say shear. See what happens. You can see what that's applied to it, and it distorting it a little bit, and then just undo that. I was going to continue explaining about the tools and the tool options, but I just noticed the time there on the video is nearly 30 minutes, so I decided I better leave it at this. If you'd like to see more and you'd like to see me explain a few more of the tool options and the tools and a few little bits and pieces, you can let me know in the comments. Otherwise I'll just leave it at this, and I hope that it helped you. If you liked it, hit the like button. If you didn't, let me know why, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers. Good luck.